Recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'm proud to represent the theme park capital of the world in Central Florida, areas like Orlando, Kissimmee, and St. Cloud. We're honored to have Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Gatorland, one of our local favorites too. We also have sport fishing in the Kissimmee chain of lakes in Northern Everglades, space tourism in the district right next to mine, with Cape Canaveral being the busiest spaceport in the world. We're about to hit 100+ launches this year, and beaches like Cocoa and Melbourne, although I will say Chairman Bilirakis and Representatives Castor and Dunn have some pretty fine beaches too. We have spring tourism and ag tourism, much like Reps Kamek and Lee as well. And we see some strengths right now, thankfully because of investment with Epic Universe that really powered us through the summer when we saw tourism down in other places across the country. And Disney's commitment to $8 billion over 10 years has been also helpful. But demand is steady but flat, right? We see 7.3 million passengers at Orlando International Airport, the busiest airport in the state. That's about a 2.1% decrease, so we're hanging tough, but you know, we got to continue it through. I think we're going to be strong through the holidays, but I worry about January or February after that all goes, because we face some challenges. Trump's mass deportations hurt the workforce. A million immigrants have lost their legal status in Florida between Cubans, Venezuelans, and Haitians who work in this industry. And then obstinate trade and foreign policies hurt foreign tourists, especially Canada. Why are we messing with Canada? For the record, Orlando loves Canada, okay? Europe too, as well, and Brazil. 50% tariffs on Brazil. They are pound for pound some of the most lucrative tourists, and then add on this the Kavanaugh stops, where if you look Hispanic and you have a Spanish accent and you're a blue-collar worker, you could be detained right now. We've seen American citizens and legal tourists detained. In Orlando, I want to make it very clear, we welcome everyone. Division and discrimination are bad for business. We welcome folks from across the world. And then add in the tariffs, rising healthcare, groceries, energy, and housing costs. And I'm worried about the domestic demand as well. And so this is why supporting the bipartisan Visit USA Act is so important. Ms. Maietta, you talked about workforce shortages. How has that affected guest experiences across the nation right now?
Thank you, Congressman, for that question. They are seeing services cut back or hours cut back. It is so important that we release the supplemental H-2B visas. That is 66,000 annually, and it's simply not enough to support all the resorts in Florida alone, let alone the rest of the country. It is a proven legal guest worker program that has decades of experience there. When we can hire American, we do, but we rely on that program to supplement around the country, especially as we're looking at the big events and ensuring that we're well staffed.
And that is forgive me because my time's limited, that's a perfect transition. Ms. Simon, how could not only workforce shortages, but tariff insanity and mass deportations and Kavanaugh stops and all this stuff affect the World Cup or the Olympics?
Thank you for the question. I think what you've described is what a lot of potential international visitors are seeing, and it does create a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear and anxiety about traveling to the U.S. We need to make sure that there is a consistent, welcome, unified message saying that international visitors to the United States is not the same as immigration. Visitation is not immigration, and we need to make that very clear. Obviously, supporting the Visit USA Act is going to be critical so that Brand USA can get out there and get that message to the international travelers.
Thank you. And Dr. Kleppe, it's interesting to hear your analysis. I wrote that bill back in 2013. You may or may not know that, although the R's never let me pass it in 4 years in the Florida legislature, and then promptly passed it right afterwards. So I feel some justice being here today to discuss it. Before that, everybody was trying to keep on standard time, and of course, keeping on daylight savings time would be a better impact. Have you estimated the total revenue from this change to extending daylight savings time to tourism nationally?
So thanks for the question, Congressman. I have not. That is not something that I have done in my research that I've
It'd be
seen.
positive, though, based upon your experience, right?
It's hard to estimate. One of the reasons it's hard to estimate is that we can have, and you can see it in Mr. Caron's testimony, we can get at estimates, I think, reasonably about what the added revenues would be in certain industries with an extra hour of evening daylight. I think the issue is the cost of that, the cost coming from disruption to our circadian rhythms, which is well established in neurology, sleep science, and kind of the medicinal community that believes that permanent standard time is a better alignment with our brains and our function cognitively. We don't know how that would affect economic decisions broadly, and so it's really hard to come up with an estimate of that side of it, and that would affect all aspects of the economy, not just industries like tourism and outdoor recreation.
Thanks for your opinion. My time's expired.